So it has been some time since I have talked about the Steam Deck, and it's been even more time since I've actually had this in my hands. I want to let you know what I really think about the Steam Deck with some more long term thoughts, because this has honestly changed the way that I game. So let's just get right into it. If you're new here, my name is Arnell, the comic book gamer, and on this channel we talk all things gaming tech and accessories. So if that is something that you're interested in, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss another video like this. Also, if you are interested in any of these Steam Deck accessories that I'm using in this video, even though this isn't an accessories video, if you see something like my Skull & Co. Case or my keyboard that I'm using when I am in docked mode, well, definitely check out the affiliate links down below in the description if there's anything that catches your eye. So it has been a little over half a year since I have had the Steam Deck, and like I said, this has honestly changed how I game. The convenience of just having a very powerful, relatively speaking, powerful device that I can use in my hands and just play really anything installed locally on the device. When I say anything, I mean really any of the games that I'm personally interested in. I don't spend a whole lot of time playing the newer, most up-to-date AAA games, things like that. But this can play some of those things. It's just not the best if you're trying to play all of the, heavy titles that are graphically intensive or things like that. So for somebody that is like me that likes to play things that are, maybe 5 to 10 years old, maybe even older, things that I have played in my childhood and just being able to pick them up for very cheap from the Steam store, well, the Steam Deck is perfect for that. Plus, if you already have a Steam library, you already have a PC that you game on, or maybe you used to game in the past and you have all of your old Steam games, well, you have access to all of those games and all of that functionality right in your hands with the Steam Deck. Whether I am on the go, like I've said in the past, I love taking this on my lunch break so I can game for 20 to 30 minutes at a time and just comfortably bring that with me, so I'm just able to just continue my progress in games. So I love being able to do that on the go, but it's also really awesome to just play relaxing at home. It's probably my favorite just position of gaming, of just laying on the couch or laying in bed and just holding the Steam Deck in my hands. It's so comfortable in the hands, it's so ergonomic, and it just feels great just comfortably laying around playing such a, again, to me, it feels like a relatively powerful device. So just having access to that to just comfortably play anywhere I want is just awesome. And I love that all of the games, at least all the ones that I'm mainly playing on, are installed locally on the device. So you can use this for a plethora of other things. So you can use this for your cloud gaming as well. I mainly do a lot of my PlayStation Remote Play on the Steam Deck now. I do have a Portal, I have a Logitech G Cloud, so I have all the other sort of cloud-based devices for remote play or cloud streaming. But I love doing a lot of things really just all on one device, which I can do with the Steam Deck. Docked mode is another huge plus. Now, the dock that comes from Valve is not the best dock, in my opinion. There are some people that swear by it. For me, I just don't really like it. It's not that reliable. It also doesn't hold the case that I use, so it's made specifically just for the Steam Deck down to like the millimeter, so it's kind of a tight fit as it is already. And then when you put a case on there for protection, obviously, having that case or that grip is just going to be too much to fit on the regular dock. And like I've said before, the just functionality of it isn't very reliable. I have to do a whole lot of like connection and, disconnecting and all this kind of stuff just to be able to use the Valve dock. Now, that might just be an issue with my dock. You might not have that issue yourself, but it's something that really irks me. So I use a different dock and I have all the same functionality, and just being able to play docked with a monitor, keyboard, mouse, the whole setup, gaming headsets, it's just awesome. There is just nothing that beats being able to play just anywhere you want, whether it's on the couch, in bed, taking it out to lunch, and then coming home to your setup and just being able to play docked on a nice larger screen with more screen functions that you're able to do with VRR and different things like that. And just having all of that functionality and just compatibility with your whole setup is just awesome. There's nothing that beats being able to just play however you want and have the freedom to be able to do that. I mean, it's honestly like playing on a Switch or a Switch 2, but you also don't have the sort of Nintendo overlord feel that you have with basically the console not even being yours to begin with, essentially. Now, if you found this video helpful so far, make sure you drop a like down below. It lets me know that you want to see more Steam Deck videos like this. I would love to just keep delivering content that you are enjoying. And like I said, if you are into gaming tech accessories, whether it is the Steam Deck, the PlayStation Portal, the Logitech G Cloud, any other handheld device that's out there, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss more videos like that. And if you're liking all the accessories that you've been seeing in the video so far, again, this is an accessories video, but you can check out the affiliate links down below, or you can check out this video linked right up here. Now, while I love the Steam Deck and how it has literally just changed my life in gaming and just given me the freedom to play however I want to, it is not perfect, but it's fantastic. Now, I will say that the battery life is a little bit more of an issue for me because I've been starting to play more handheld than docked lately. And so, like I've said before, usually I have access to a charger near me anywhere, right? I mean, that's just how it is. I mean, you have just electricity, Wi-Fi anywhere. You have access to a lot of these things in many cases. I know that's not the case for a lot of people, but just for me, it's not a huge issue finding access to charging if I need it. It's just frustrating sometimes being limited to charging, right? So sometimes if I'm gaming in the living room, then I have to, find an extra long cord to have with me so that way I can plug it in while I'm gaming, or I have to just make sure that I have a full charge if I want to play somewhere else that would be just kind of uncomfortable to have a charger, like if I want to play in the backyard or something like that. It can be a little bit inconvenient with the battery life and just kind of wanting a little bit more. Now, I've said before, I have the LCD model, so the OLED does definitely do a massive improvement over that. But for me, I just wanted to kind of get into just the simplest, cheapest option from Valve for their handhelds. And so I went with the 256 gigabyte, I think. Yeah, 256 gigabyte LCD Steam Deck. So you can upgrade that storage and all that kind of stuff. But I just wanted to go for the cheapest one. And so I knew that I was missing out on some of the upgrades that the OLED has. Now, would I sell the LCD to get the OLED? For me personally, no. For some people that need that battery life improvement and the better screen and all that stuff, if that's something that really is important to you and you really care about, then by all means go for the OLED. For me, it's just not my jam. It's just not something that I really feel like I'm missing out on that I absolutely need to get. So it's one of those trade-offs, one of those cons, the battery life I'm talking about, that I'm aware that I am kind of losing some functionality there, but it's not the end of the world for me, but it is kind of inconvenient. So it's just something to maybe think about if you're at the point where you're deciding to get the LCD or the OLED or something like that. I mean, maybe just get the OLED, but for me, again, I kind of got this knowing what I was getting into. Now, it is kind of disappointing some of the, limited functionality that you can have with certain games. Because this is a Linux-based operating system, it's kind of cool that you can do some customization and things like that. For me, I'm not really somebody that gets like super hardcore into wanting to tweak everything. So it wouldn't have mattered to me if this were Linux or Windows or just something else. So it's not like the end of the world that this is Linux, but it's also not the greatest second coming that we have Linux on the Steam Deck. So it's just kind of one of those things that's just like, okay, cool. Doesn't really change anything for me. So that's just kind of how I see it. But the challenge that comes into play with it being a Linux-based operating system is that there's some games that are just uncompatible. Incompatible? Whatever, you know what I'm talking about. So that Linux-based operating system really affects it in some of the newer games that come out, more of your like multiplayer games, so you're not able to actually play any Call of Duty games, at least multiplayer-wise. You're not able to do certain games that require a certain level of anti-cheat software in there to basically make sure that you're not, going in and cheating. So I can understand why some of the software limitations are in place, but it is kind of frustrating that you do have that sort of limited functionality, right? So even games that are on the Steam store, which you can access any title right on the Steam store and just you could buy them from the Steam Deck, all that kind of stuff. You're going to run into some, newer games, even some like newer free-to-play games, first-person shooters, different things like that, that just you're not able to actually get running on the Steam Deck. Now, some games that are on the Steam store that you can get that are AAA title games, sometimes they just don't run the best. They're not the most well optimized. For example, the first Berserker Kazan is a fantastic game. The Steam Deck is like screaming for dear life because the fans are just going crazy trying to keep up with the game, and it trying to play this in like max settings is possible, but it's going to kill your battery life. And just the Steam Deck gets hot, the fans are on overdrive. I mean, it's crazy. So even though the Steam Deck can play certain games, it can play a lot of games, it just might not be able to play a lot of them well. So a lot of times what you're going to end up having to do is to scale back some settings or just choose to play that particular game on a different device. And so that's kind of a frustration there. It's more of a frustration if you're somebody that really wants to play newer AAA title games, and that's sort of like your main thing that you're into. You're not really into playing older games. The Steam Deck might not be the best for you because it just can't. You're going to run into a lot of compromises when you're trying to run certain games. Now, the other thing that I'll kind of touch on here is the comfort. Now, I've said that the comfort is fantastic. I absolutely love holding the Steam Deck, whether it is with a grip or without one. One thing that I'll say, which is not an issue for me because I find this absolutely comfortable, in response to a lot of the comments that I've seen in my last video, there were quite a few people that find the Steam Deck to be actually uncomfortable, and that's because of the size of it. So some people that might have smaller hands, different things like that, it just might not be the most functionally comfortable handheld console to hold. A lot of people prefer the ROG Ally over the Steam Deck, or maybe the Lenovo Legion Go if you have larger hands and you need something even bigger. So there's, different comfort levels, right, depending on what you need in a handheld. And so that is something that I'll say, maybe if you have a friend that has a Steam Deck, maybe try holding it around for 5-10 minutes or whatever, and just kind of test it out, or you can always order it, see how you like it, and then if you need to return it, you can. But at least kind of give it a go before you really dive all deep into the ecosystem. If you're somebody that doesn't even buy your games primarily on Steam, even though Steam is a massive store, there are some people that still primarily buy things on like the Epic Game Store, or they just strictly stay with GOG, good old games, because of the DRM free packaging of their games. So there are some people that don't use Steam and they're maybe considering getting a Steam Deck and they're not really into that ecosystem. And so before they dive deep into buying all of their games on the Steam store and all that kind of stuff, just maybe consider trying out the Steam Deck and returning it if it is just something that is just not going to be good for you. Because if you're going to have to force yourself to get used to it and to get, familiar with it and everything like that, and it's just going to be a bad time, if you're noticing a bad experience in the beginning, might want to just jump ship before you lose that return window and you're not able to actually get out of it if you need to. But what can I say? The Steam Deck is just a fantastic handheld console. PC, just hybrid. Sometimes when a particular piece of tech is trying to do more than one thing, a lot of times, most of the time, it will do either one thing really well and another thing really bad. I think that the Steam Deck really does very good in both areas. It's not perfect. It doesn't, it's not the perfect handheld. It's not the perfect PC that you can use in docked mode, but I can say that it does both things very well. It's very easy to just play comfortably handheld and then quickly jump into a docked experience and even just use it as a regular computer. And it's just really made gaming way more accessible for somebody like me that is older. I just don't have the time to be able to play. I have my day job. I'm running different YouTube channels. I'm doing a whole lot of different things, and I'm being stretched in a lot of different directions. And sometimes I just don't have the time to game, at least at my gaming setup here in the room. So being able to play things, not just handheld, because I can do that with the Portal, I can do that with the G Cloud, but being able to play things locally installed on the device is just next level. And then being able to not only play those games locally, but also if I just decide to do cloud gaming or something like that, remote play, then I can do that as well. So just having that freedom, that sort of autonomy to be able to do whatever I want with this and all the different customizations you can do, if that is something that you're interested in, then there's a lot of opportunity here with the Steam Deck. And it's one of the consoles that I really think have really shaped not just the gaming industry, but have really shaped gaming for me, because honestly, if it weren't for the Steam Deck and all of the functionality that I can have with that and the flexibility of it, I probably wouldn't be as into games and gaming tech and gaming culture as I am now, because I just wouldn't have the time. I mean, between work and all my other responsibilities, family, I mean, just taking care of things around the house, I'm being stretched in a lot of different directions. And the Steam Deck is something that can meet my needs wherever I'm at. And that's something that I will not and cannot take for granted. So, if you want any more Steam Deck content, definitely check out this playlist right here, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Peace.